Welcome everyone to another episode of the Chuck Graham Show. I'm gonna try this without the microphone, well, not the headphones. That's what they call those. Anyway, I can look at the sound quality on the screen. So we're gonna try that without the headphones, just to see if it, I don't know, does a little better. And anyway, what I was gonna get into today was Grady Judd, the sheriff out of Polk County, Florida. And the reason I want to talk about that for just a little bit today is that, well, for us that's been in law enforcement, and I hadn't been a cop in 20-something years, but I also know that people are innocent until proven guilty. And I really don't see the need in plastering. I'll give you an example. The 3 officers that they arrested for allegedly taking the money from a suspect. It was like $700. And he was boasting the fact that they arrested all 3 of them for taking the money. Well, apparently, if one of them's going to be guilty, most likely. The other ones will be conspirators. But my problem with that is you're tainting the jury pool. How can you take someone who is presumed innocent and plaster their ass all over the internet before they've ever been indicted? Now, I can understand if you get a conviction and you come out and go, oh, look at me. I'm the great sheriff that has a whole lot of convictions. Okay, great. But what I have the problem with, and it's not because it's the 2 officers. I wouldn't care if they were drug dealers, if they were what kind of crimes that they committed. They still have the presumption of innocence in this country under our Constitution until a court of law, until they're found guilty in a court of law. Let me break it down for you. The cop's job is to accuse and charge. The prosecution's job is to prosecute the charges. The judge's job is to oversee the trial. The jury's job is to convict or acquit. And the defense's job is to defend vigorously their innocence. And the prosecution's job is to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they are guilty. Plastering somebody's face all over the internet before you've ever had a trial at all does what? It does absolutely nothing except give the defense a reason to change venue, because you have just tainted the jury pool. People are human beings. Judges are human beings. They have a presumption of, oh, well, if it's on YouTube, it must be true. If YouTube wanted to do something, and I don't agree with them doing this, but I'm just saying, if they just want to be all woke, then take his stuff down, because these people are innocent until proven guilty. Fake news. It's not true. He's accusing these people of crimes. And I can assure you that he most likely does not get the level of convictions as he does the level of charges. I mean, unless, of course, things have changed in 20 years. I mean, the fact is it would not surprise me a bit if the prosecution took those felony charges and dropped them down to a misdemeanor, but you'll never hear that press conference. You'll only hear Mr. Grady Judd saying how wonderful of a sheriff he is. Now, let me just say, I don't know what kind of sheriff he is. I'm a conservative. I just find it hyperbolic for someone to get on TV and plaster someone's name that has allegedly committed a crime all over the internet for no other reason than what? For him to boast of how great a sheriff he is. That's all that's about. You know? It's kind of like when the rich man walks into the Saginaw back in the days of Christ, and he drops his coins really high. So he wants everybody to know just how much money he's putting in the plate. You've received your reward in full, sir. Whatever you do for God, you don't do. You don't plaster it all over the internet, if that's really what you're doing it for, which I doubt. Anywho, that's my take on that. And I just wanted to touch base. Tell me what you think in the comments. I read the comments on his videos, and everybody loves him. I can't find any negative comments on his videos, and either they're deleting them or everybody loves him. And I'm just saying, from an ex-law enforcement standpoint, even me, when I would charge somebody, I wouldn't go on a television show and bolster that all over the place. Oh, look at me. I arrested this guy for, 3 pounds of marijuana. No. It doesn't make two shits what you arrest somebody for. Only thing that matters is what they got convicted for. But you never hear the press conference on that. I'd like somebody to come back and say, well, yeah, he arrested them, but they got acquitted. I'm just saying. Does it really matter what you arrest anybody for? Anybody can be arrested for anything. Old school coffee in my Stanley thermos. But think about that. Anybody can be arrested for anything. But getting a conviction, well, that's a whole different ballgame, folks. So, before Mr. Judd gets on national TV, why don't he get on national TV about all the convictions and the great police work and all the evidence, and there was no break in chain of custody, and there was everything was done perfect. Defense didn't have a case won. Because let me tell you something. Here's what it boils down to. If the police do their job, and the prosecution does his job, and the jury does its job, and the judge does its job, there ain't a damn thing that defense can do about it. But here's what happens. The police rarely do their job, 100%. And the prosecution rarely does its job sparkling. And the judge are human beings, and they're full of flaws just like we all are. And juries sometimes get it wrong. My point being is this. To quote a friend of mine, which is a really great defense attorney, gets you as much justice as you can afford. And my point being with that is not that money plays a big role in that, which it does sometimes, because you're able to get a better defense attorney. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you need an attorney that can pick apart what the police did, and they're always going to make mistakes. We're human beings. We're going to make mistakes. But that's my point. How many convictions did Mr. Judd and his department get? And how many acquittals? And how many pleas? How many times did their felony charges get pled down to misdemeanor charges? And I don't hear anybody talking about this guy. That's why I wanted to do a show on it. It's kind of baffling to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand why he doesn't come out after the convictions or hey, after the indictments. Nobody's even been indicted yet. It's not even been bound over to grand jury. He's been charged. They've been arrested, or the criminals have. And maybe some of them have been indicted. I don't know. I didn't go through every single video that he did, but at least get an indictment. At least the grand jury binds it over for trial. Or at least a preliminary hearing binding it over for trial. But just, wham, arrest them and poof, all over the internet. Look at what I did. Look at these scumbags. They stole $700. Not to mention they were trying to come up with the money to give it back. And who's to say that it didn't just get lost and they got scared? Who's to say that it didn't get lost? The money didn't get lost on those 3 officers, and they just got afraid of what would happen, and they were just trying to put the money back. Who's to say? Who knows? I will tell you this. Unlike some people in law enforcement, I really do believe some really good people do some really stupid shit. And should one incident in your life define you? Apparently so. So you can go through your whole life with a stellar record of doing all sorts of good shit, but you screw up once, and that's going to define you for the rest of your life. I'm going to end saying this. Folks, if God judged us like we judge each other, we'd all go to hell. Every single fucking one of us. Excuse the expression. And that is my 2 cents. Bye-bye.